People told you to pick one thing and master it. They were wrong. That nagging feeling you get when you want to learn everything, coding, psychology, music, business, design, and nobody can quite figure out what to call you. That's not a flaw. That's a future-proof brain. There's a specific psychological and economic profile for people like you. Researchers and labor economists have started calling it the M-shaped skill set, and the data shows that multi-interest individuals don't just survive the modern economy, they're built to dominate it. But here's the twist nobody talks about. The very thing that makes you feel scattered is the thing everyone else is now desperately trying to acquire. Stay with me. Picture this. You're at a dinner party. Someone asks what you do, and you pause. Not because you don't have an answer, but because you have too many. You've worked in 3 completely different fields. You read books that don't belong on the same shelf. Your YouTube history looks like 5 different people share your account. And somewhere along the way, you internalized a message from school, from career counselors, from well-meaning relatives. Focus, specialize, commit. The psychological term for this pressure is identity foreclosure, when we're pushed to lock down who we are before we fully explored it. Researcher James Marcia at the University of British Columbia identified this as one of the most psychologically damaging things we can do to a developing mind. But here's what I want you to hold on to. The very structure of the global economy just quietly flipped, and the multi-interest person, they became the most valuable professional profile on Earth. But here's what nobody tells you about being a multi-interest person. You're not scattered, you're networked. Your brain doesn't collect random interests the way a junk drawer collects batteries. It builds invisible bridges. Every new domain you learn becomes a lens through which you see every other domain. And that cross-domain perception is, neurologically, one of the rarest cognitive abilities a person can have. Researchers at the University of Michigan found that the ability to draw novel connections between unrelated fields, what they called remote associative thinking, predicted innovation output more reliably than either deep expertise or raw intelligence alone. Not IQ, not years of experience in one area, the ability to connect things that don't seem to connect. Here's an analogy. Imagine 2 different kinds of forests. One is a monoculture. Thousands of the same tree, planted in rows, optimized for one output. It's efficient, but one disease wipes it out entirely. The other is a mixed forest, dozens of species, tangled and seemingly chaotic, but it self-regulates, it adapts. If one species fails, 3 others fill the gap. Your mind is a mixed forest. The specialists who were told they were winning, they built monocultures. And the global economy just introduced a new kind of disease called automation, AI, and perpetual industry disruption. Which forest survives? But it gets more complicated than that. Because the M-shaped concept isn't just a metaphor, it's a measurable economic model. The original T-shaped skill set, one deep specialty, broad general awareness, was the gold standard for decades. One vertical bar of deep expertise, one horizontal bar of surface-level versatility. Then economists and workforce analysts started noticing something counterintuitive in the data. The highest earners and highest impact professionals weren't T-shaped. They had 2 vertical bars, deep competence in 2 distinct disciplines, plus the connective tissue of broader awareness, an M. A clinical psychologist who also deeply understands data science, a musician who mastered marketing, a designer who spent years in behavioral economics. According to labor market research cited in the Harvard Business Review, this dual-depth profile consistently correlated with higher salaries, faster career advancement, and greater resilience to job displacement. Now, picture yourself in that model. You've been building those vertical bars your whole life. Every time you dove deep into a new interest and people told you to stop, you were doing exactly what the economy was quietly rewarding. You were writing a career playbook that most people won't even read for another decade. And this is where it gets really interesting. The psychological mechanism that drives multi-interest people is one that researchers almost exclusively associated with geniuses. It's called openness to experience, And it's one of the big 5 personality traits measured in virtually every major study on human psychology. A 2019 meta-analysis published in the journal Psychological Bulletin, drawing from over 40 years of data across multiple countries, found that openness to experience was the single strongest predictor of lifetime creative achievement. Stronger than IQ, stronger than conscientiousness, stronger than any other personality variable measured. Let that land. The trait that makes you chase new subjects, crave novelty, and feel claustrophobic in narrowly defined roles. That trait, according to 4 decades of psychological data, is the #1 predictor of creative output across a lifetime. But here's the part that changes everything. Society doesn't reward openness in real time. It punishes it. Schools punish it. Traditional job interviews punish it. Parents punish it. We built systems for the T-shaped worker in a stable industrial economy, and we're now force running those systems in a world that no longer exists. Ask yourself this: when was the last time someone with a wildly unexpected combination of skills solved a problem that the specialists had given up on? I'll bet you know someone like that. I'll bet that person might be you. But knowing this isn't enough. Here's what to actually do with it. The next time someone tells you to pick a lane, understand what they're actually saying. I was trained in a world that no longer exists, and your complexity makes me uncomfortable. That's their limitation, not yours. First, name your M. Write down the 2 or 3 areas where you have real depth, not surface-level curiosity, genuine, years-in, hard-won knowledge. Those are your vertical bars. The spaces between them, that's where your rarest value lives. Second, stop hiding the breadth. In professional settings, the instinct is to downplay the variety and lead with the one thing you think they want to hear. Flip that. The combination is the pitch. The overlap is the offer. Third, find the problems that require translation. The highest leverage work in almost every industry right now lives at the intersection of 2 fields that don't usually talk to each other. You were built to stand in that gap because you're one of the few people who speaks both languages. You're not scattered. You're positioned. You spent years wondering if something was wrong with you because your curiosity didn't fit in a box. Nothing was ever wrong. You were just early. The M-shaped future isn't coming. It's already here. And the people who thrive in it are the ones who stopped apologizing for the width of their minds. If this shifted something for you, hit like, because this kind of research deserves to reach further than the algorithm usually takes it. And if you want to keep understanding the hidden mechanics behind how people think, adapt, and outperform, subscribe to Cognitive Blueprint. You'll fit right in here.